All right, let's talk about how we can get shallow in transition, hit better iron, and overall better shots in general on the golf course. First of all, steep club in transition on the way down will be one that's more vertical, so straight up and down. You see this a lot of times, they got the guys that kind of go over the top. They have an early release with their wrist. The club starts to get really steep here, and they're gonna take either big divots, they're gonna pull up, or they're gonna cut across it, try to manipulate it. It's not a good spot to be in transition. So we want a more shallow club here, which is one that's more laid off, club head back behind us, more parallel to the ground. This will allow us to rotate, create a lot more power, nice shallow divots, and it's really gonna help us get in a better position to hit more consistent shots. So how do we get a shallow club face? Number one, we talked about kind of guys that come over the top, release the wrist too early. These kind of guys that have more of a steeper path. And so we need to get you swinging the club more from the inside, number one. So we want a little more inside path. Now we can have an inside path, but also a steep club. So the path is obviously not the only thing that has to do with shallowing the club. That's just one small thing. So, but you know, if we do have a big over the top swing, it's really gonna be hard to shallow the club because it's literally impossible to swing. So number one, make sure the path is okay. Number two, we're gonna talk about the trail arm in transition and how that has a lot to do with shallowing the club. So if I sit here like this and I have my arm in this location, if I pull my elbow in this way, you're gonna see that naturally what happens is the club shallows. Now if I move this way with my arm, so it goes out, it starts to bow, now look what happens to the club. It goes that way, so it gets steeper. So we wanna feel like this trail arm is gonna move towards our lead arm, and it tries to kiss the lead arm. Now there's training aids that you guys may have seen before where they have little balls that they stick between their arms, and a lot of good tour players will use that training aid because it helps keep the arms more locked in. So there's other training aids where you can have a ball in your lead arm there and it works towards the arm, whatever it may be. A good little drill here is if you, without a club, just take your address here and just start making little swings. Feel like your wrists stay up at the top, but you pull your elbow in towards your body on the downswing. So just make some fluid swings here so the wrist is staying up, but I feel like I'm pulling my elbow in. And this is just a nice little drill that you can do at home. Maybe you're in line at the supermarket, pumping gas. Just get the feeling of your wrist staying up, but your elbow coming in. It's gonna feel a little bit weird at first, but that's a great feeling. Now we can really feel like, we can work the club, kind of the same thing even with a club if you'd like, in your hand. Just pull, wrist stays up, elbow comes in, and that's gonna shallow the club nicely. You can see how that club just lays off behind you. You can almost feel like just let the head of the club, the weight of the club, just kind of fall back here. So, the wrists are kind of letting it, we're not flipping the wrist early. We're holding that wrist angle and we're moving the trail arm in. And that's just gonna really help us with that nice shallowing of the club and laid off of the club to help us turn. So we're feeling like this arm is working towards the lead arm. We're gonna try to kiss the right arm with the left arm. You can think, obviously they're not gonna touch, but you can feel that right arm just trying to get closer to the lead arm in transition. So we're letting the head fall back behind us and we're kissing it here. And then from there, we can rotate and turn. So we have a good path. We're not flipping our wrist early. We're holding off the wrist a little bit. We're moving that trail arm in towards our lead arm, and that's gonna really help you shallow the club. So I can sit over here once again, take some practice swings, feel like I'm pulling that elbow in towards my lead arm, and then I can take a shot here. So we're really gonna feel like this club head and the weight of the head stays back behind our body, and then we can just turn from there. And that's just a beautiful shot. So if you look at that back, you're gonna see that my club is more shallow. I can turn, transition, and hit good shots. If you're someone who struggles with this, Give that drill a try. It's gonna help you out a lot. Make sure you're not flipping your wrist early. Make sure you're not coming to the top. Make sure that trail arm working toward your lead arm. Once again, that head falls back behind your body. You're gonna be hitting a lot better shots. Give it a try.